Hello Lightning Leaders, and welcome back to another math video. Today we're going to be talking about more fractions. This time we're going to be talking about adding fractions. Now I was going through the last few pages of the packet, and it looks like the adding and subtracting fractions are kind of mixed all around the place. So we're going to jump around a little bit in the packet as we talk about addition today, and then you'll finish the rest of it with Mr. Horrigan when he does the subtracting video. So to start, we're on page 26. It's labeled Understanding of Fraction, Addition, and Subtraction. We're going to look at just question number 1. And I've copied it again up here on the board, for you to see and for me to explain. It says to label the number line and use it to show 3/4 plus 3/4. They give you this number line, which was super nice that they gave us that completed number line, and I realize that on yours it says this, which is the same thing. Now, they want us to add 3/4 plus 3/4. Well, if I find 3/4 on my number line, I count 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So now I'm right here. But I need to add 3/4 to that, so I need to count another 3/4. So here we go. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So there's another 3/4. But what happened was I was already at 3. I moved 3 more spaces, so now I got to count 3/4, 4/4, 5/4. This is 6/4. Our answer is 6/4. Mr. S, that doesn't make sense. The number on the top is bigger. How can you have more than one thing? Well, the same thing as if we were talking about whole numbers. I have 1 marker. Now I have 2 markers. This is telling me I have 1 marker and part of another marker. We'll say like part of it's missing, right? The bottom number tells us how many pieces each thing was split into, and how many pieces it takes to make one complete thing. The top number tells us how many of these pieces we have. This is our size. This is how many we have. Think of it like if we were using a ruler to measure a piece of paper. We'd measure in inches and say, I don't know, the paper is 8 inches long, right? This is telling me that I went 6/4 down the number line. 6 inches, 6 markers, right? It's another unit to label our numbers. Each piece of the marker is the size of a 1/4. That's what this bottom number is telling us. Now they want us to show this in another way. So I can look at my picture here. I've got my 2 circles. They're divided into 4ths. And I just need to color in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There is my number line shown in a picture now. Now to finish up my number sentence, 3/4 plus 3/4 equals 6/4. Mr. S, doesn't make sense again. Why didn't you add the bottom numbers? You only added the top numbers. Great question. Whenever you are adding or subtracting fractions, you can't do it unless your bottom number is the same. Because the bottom number stays the same throughout the number sentence. We don't touch it. The only time we have to do some crazy other math is if they're not the same number on the bottom. Then we have to do some changes so that they are the same number. And then we just do what the operation tells us. In this case, it's addition. And we add our top numbers together. And the 4 just comes along for the ride. So again, whenever you're adding or subtracting fractions, you can only do it if the denominator, the bottom number, is the same digit. If this is not the same digit, you can't add or subtract. It's just against the rules of math. At no point will we do 3/4 plus 3/4 to come up with 6/8. That's not the same number. It's not. Now, question 2 on page 26 is a subtraction question. You'll do that with Mr. Horrigan. Page 27 is an opinion question. What model did you like best? Did you like the number sentence? Did you like the picture? Did you like the number line? You get to choose and tell me why. And then question 4 is a subtraction question, so I'm going to leave that for Mr. Horrigan. I'm now going to jump to page 28. And page 28 has a whole bunch of number sentences for us to figure out. Now, at a quick glance here, and I could be making a mistake, but at a quick glance at the paper, it looks like all of our denominators are the same, which means we don't have any extra math to do, which is just a gift. Just is making this so much nicer. It's when those denominators are not the same that things start getting super crazy. But luckily, we don't have to worry about that right now. So let's look at number 1. Number 1 says 1/6 plus 4/6 equals something sixths. This number's missing here. Well, like I said, we're super lucky. We don't have to do any changing here because our denominators are both 6. And as you can see, it came later on, right along for the ride. I'm just adding my sixths together. Just like when you were learning how to add and subtract in the metric unit, when we were talking about centimeters and meters and all that, you couldn't add meters and liters together. They're not the same thing. You can't add apples and oranges together. They're not the same thing. We can add these together because a sixth and a sixth are the same thing. If I have 1/6 and 4/6, I can add them together. If I have 1 apple and 4 apples, I can add them together. 1/6 plus 4/6, well, what's 1 plus 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5. So our answer is 5/6. All we were really doing, if we look at this, we were just doing 1 plus 4. Think of our denominator as our unit. It's telling us the size of the pieces. To put that example that I was telling you about, talking about up on the board, 1 plus 4 is 5, right? 1 apple plus 4 apples is 5 apples. 1/6 plus 4/6 equals 5/6. Again, the really nice thing about this page is we really don't have to do any crazy math here. We're really just doing some addition stuff that we've been doing way back since, I don't know, kindergarten, first grade. I haven't taught that lower grade yet, but I'm sure you've been doing it for a while. Let's see. Let's do another one that has a few missing numbers in it. You know what? Let's jump to number 4. I think actually I'm going to go down that left side of the column. So we're going to do 1, 4, 7, and 10. Yeah. 1, 4, 7, and 10. Let's start with question 4 here. 4/12 plus something equals 7/12. Let's think about what we've talked about already. We know that when we add or subtract fractions, the denominator has to be the same number. So if that's the case, we already know that this has to be a 12. This digit has to be a 12. Because if I'm adding these together, they have to be the same thing. So now I have 4/12 plus something equals 7/12. Now I have to ask myself, what plus 4 equals 7? Maybe I can use a counting on strategy. 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, it's 3. So now I know that 4/12 plus 3/12 equals 7/12. Let's look at question 7. Question 7 says something plus 2/4 equals 5/4. Okay, let's remember our rule. In order to add or subtract fractions, the denominator has to be the same digit. Since these are a 4, This also has to be a 4. We are adding fourths. Now, another cool trick about math is any addition sentence written backwards is a subtraction sentence. Watch this. Something plus 2 equals 5. Something plus 2 equals 5. Well, if I write that backwards, 5 minus 2 equals something. Oh. Well, I know 5 minus 2. It's 3. Let's see if it works up here. 3, 4, 5. Oh, it worked. So if I plug it in up here, 3/4 plus 2/4 equals 5/4. 3 plus 2 equals 5. 3 kids plus 2 kids equals 5 kids. That fourth is just our unit. It is our fractional unit. Now, let's see here. Let's look at question 10. Question 10 has some blank spots in different places. It says something sixths plus 2/6 equals something sixths. Well, they were nice and they gave us this bottom number. But if I'm looking at this and going, there's an infinite number of possibilities here. Because I don't know where I'm supposed to end, so I can't figure out where I'm supposed to start. So for these last 3 questions, you get to pick. You get to pick what number you want to put in here. Now don't go too crazy and make it too hard on yourself, but I could put a 7 here. 7 plus 2 is 9. I could have put an 11 here. 11 plus 2 is 13. You get to choose and create your own number sentence, as long as you're following the rules of adding fractions. Now, question 13 is the same. I don't know why they made it separate. It looks like it just says write a number between 1 and 12, so they're limiting the size of the digit you can have up here. They don't want you going bigger than 12, which it makes sense because that's a tiny box to write in. Now, we're going to talk about one more page today, and that is page 31, and it's decomposing fractions. And the reason we're talking about this is because it's a lot of repeated addition sentences. And so I want to talk about a couple of them together with you, and then you can try the rest. And as always, all the answers will be posted at the end of the video, and reach out to your teachers if you have any questions. So let me get this erased here, and let me write the next problem up here. So we have 3/4, and they want us to break this 3/4 down. Now they started by breaking it down into its unit fractions, and that is something that we have done for a while now. We learned that we can break any fraction down into unit fractions, just like we can break any number down into smaller numbers. We can break this number, this fraction, into smaller pieces. That's what we did. Now they want us to write it in a few different ways, because the commutative property of addition tells us that we can rewrite our addition sentences in different ways, and it'll still, in a different order, and it'll still be the same answer. Again, the associative property, we can write our addends, the numbers we're adding together, in any order, as long as all we're doing is adding, and we'll get the same sum, the same answer every time. Let's take a look at this. 3/4 equals 1/4 plus 1/4 plus something. Well, 1/4, 2/4. Looks like I'm missing one more fourth. Boom. All right. 3/4 equals 2/4 plus something. 2, 3. I just need to add one more. I forgot to do my line here. And then, all right, well, looks like our associative property kicked in here, and we can just flop our addends, because we're still going to get the same answer. And it looks like you get to be a little creative for the rest of the page. Just make sure that all of your numerators add up to where you should be. If we had checked our work and we had gotten that 2 plus 1 equaled 4, we did something wrong, because we only wanted to get to 3. Now, question 7 at the very bottom says to describe your strategy for finding the missing numbers. Well, we just used the associative property, or we used counting on addition. We just figured out what the missing number was by just counting on until we got our answer. Go ahead and figure out the rest of the page, or the rest of those pages. The answers will be posted at the end of the video. And again, reach out to your teachers if you have any questions on any of this. I know fractions are super tricky. And this is my last math video for the packet. So from here on out, it's just going to be, as far as I know, it's just going to be my class seeing my videos from now on. So thank you all of you for joining in and watching these videos. I hope you're safe and healthy, and I can't wait to see you guys all back at school. See you then.